Hi everyone, welcome to Notebooks and Things. I'm Neha and I love shiny things. And this is my reading journal setup. I am doing a voiceover because when I'm setting stuff up, my head gets in the frame a lot and I just like listening to something or watching to something, so voiceover, yay. And I am using a smaller, thinner notebook instead of a thicker one because I'm not sure how long this is gonna take me to get through. I'm not sure how long I'm even gonna keep it up, but I did want to have a place to put books, so smaller reading journal. Of course, A5 is on the bigger side of the notebooks I use, but this notebook is skinnier, so yeah. I did have to cut out a lot of parts because my head kept like taking over the entire frame, and I don't think anyone wants to stare at the back of my head a lot. So yeah, but I'm using random scraps of paper. Don't worry about those torn pages. They were torn from a book I did not like that I did already use for a project back in 10th grade. So don't worry about it. It's it was already a dead book anyways, so yay. But yeah, I'm just pretty much having fun throwing stuff around. I did not know how much I was gonna do to this when I was starting. I figured I'd just like grab all my supplies and sit down and do whatever, and then it turned into this monstrosity. So the first few pages are, or while they have a lot more going on in them than the pages with the actual books will have, if that makes sense. Sometimes my words don't make sense, but here I am rambling away. But yeah, I do like to read a lot, which is why I wanted to do this, and I read a lot. Like it's so I do read a lot of fanfics too. Fanfics are what I read more of technically because I can go through like 100,000 words in a day, more than that really if I'm reading a lot. But if it's like a busy day, I'll probably get through 100,000 words in like 1 or 2 days, depending on how much I'm doing that day. But if I'm like doing nothing that day, then I might read 200,000 words that day. So this is a book that is not for my fanfics at all. This is just for the published books, I guess, that I read, which is why it's also skinny. And I also don't have to put in every single book I read in here. Like, I don't have to write about every single book I read. I can just, like, add it to the list, which is also why it's skinny. Because if I had to add every single book I read, that would take a while, and I don't know if I'll even be up for that. Like, who knows, I might just abandon this a few days in. I don't know, but I did want to have a reading journal, so here it is. I spend hours trying to figure out where to put what. But I have like a couple of washi tapes that fit the vibe I was going for, and okay, so this is another thing. When I started when I started with the pages, I didn't really know what I was gonna do. I just kind of went for it, and then I ended up with this type of theme, I guess. It definitely fits the book vibe, but I didn't expect it to happen, kind of. Okay, so I did expect something to happen, but I didn't expect what the theme would be. But considering the stuff I had with me, I really should have expected it. I just grabbed whatever looked good to me in the moment and I sat down with it. So, yeah, starting with my table of contents. I did skip the first page, the like page right next to the cover, I guess. The inside cover, that page, because technically that would be where I would put like a fun little title page, but I didn't know what I wanted to put there yet. I figured I'd just leave it blank for now, so it's blank. But on these two pages, the ones that I just finally finished setting up, are the table of contents and my reading goals, which my reading goals are going to be not strict at all. They're very loose, kind of, I guess. I don't have any set number of books I'm going to read. And like this book, this journal, it can last as long as or for as little time as I want it to. Maybe I'll finish it in like 2 months. Maybe it'll take me 2 years. Whatever, it's fine. So I didn't want to date anything like that. Like obviously I was gonna date the books I read and when, but not stuff like the goals or like the general contents of the journal. So for my reading goals, I wanted to finally read Modao Zushi and the Scum Villain Self Saving System. And I've read fanfics and watched the dongwa for Modao Zushi, but I just haven't been able to bring myself to read it yet because it's gonna be painful. I know it's gonna be so painful. But I did read Heaven Official's Blessing like 4 years ago, and that was the unofficial translation because the official translation wasn't out yet. And that was great. That was a great week. I spent the entire week reading it while that was also my first quarter in college. But it was great, and I do kind of want to reread that too, but I don't have to. But I do want to read Scumvillain Self Saving System at some point. I really want to read some by hit too. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but that's Chinese GL, and I do generally prefer GL in books, but I haven't actually read any Chinese by. Oh my god, my words are not wording, but I haven't read any Chinese GL yet, and technically the only Danmei, and that's Chinese BL, and the only one of those I've read so far is Heaven Official's Blessing. I would like to read similar stories, but focusing on women, because yay. I do also need to reread The Jasmine Throne and finally get around to reading the rest of the series because I love that book, and I do need to read the rest of it. And it does kind of give me a similar vibe to Heaven Official's Blessing. So yeah, except obviously Heaven Official's Blessing is Chinese and the Jasmine Throne is based on Indian mythology, so obvious differences, but I guess you can see what kind of books I'm really into. And another one of my goals is to reread some old classics, like Dracula, The Secret Garden. These were books that I read back in like 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade. Oh wait, no, I didn't do 3rd grade. Okay, these were books that I read in like 2nd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, maybe even 6th grade. I don't remember exactly, but I did like them then. But I did also get the version that was in the school libraries. There's this series called the Great Illustrated Classics, and my guess is that they were probably a little bit more watered down for to be like somewhat kid friendly, even if they weren't always entirely kid friendly. They were kid friendly enough that it was fine. But I do really want to reread those. So that's on my list. And I'm already setting up the next the next set of pages. But yeah, I left like half a page for anything else I want to add on if I want to, but that's it for now. It's like stuff I want to do, and like nothing against people who like numbering the amount of books they read or want to read a certain number of books in a year, because that's great. It's always good to read more. But I personally just don't feel the need for that with how much reading I get in already through fanfics. And well, I don't want to restrict myself to a number. I might read 5 books in a month, but I might read 12 books another month. There was one summer I was reading multiple books a day. So yeah, if I like give myself a certain number, a specific number, I might go over it, I might go under it. I don't know. So I'd rather not do that to myself. Like reading more, trying to read more is great. Wanting to read more is great. But I can't put a number on it because I don't know if I'm going to read 500 books this year or 5. I don't know what's going to happen this year. I do also don't not have I also don't have a job right now. So if I get a job, that's going to change the amount of time I have to read and, well, do other things too, but reading is what we're talking about, so reading. So I don't know what's going to happen this year. I don't know if I'm going to have time to read more. I don't know if I'm going to just not want to read more. This year is very unpredictable. There's a lot of stuff happening. Like, not just in life, but like in the world, and that sucks. So, yeah, I don't want to stick to a rigid goal when I don't know what's going to happen this year at all. Last year was a train wreck. I think everyone knows how much of a train wreck last year was, like, especially if you live in the US. And this year is not looking good so far either, so we shall see. But I brought out my sticker book. I don't remember where or when I got the sticker book, but it was years ago. But I barely used it, which is a big problem with me and stickers. But the pages I'm setting up right now is my to read list, and I am gonna set up another 2 pages for my to read list. But I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been struggling with stamps. I I stamped the last page too on this one. I think my stamp pad might have like dried out at some point. But I don't know when. Maybe when I like moved out of my dorm. I don't know. But I gave up and started using a marker, but you will see that marker was also dried out. I don't even remember when I used that specific marker, but that was also kind of dried out, which was very sad. Like for the stamp on my table of contents page, I just filled it in with a black pen to like make it stand out more, but for this I just left it. But yeah. Oh, and this to read page is going to be specifically for books that I don't already have or ebooks. I'm shoving in ebooks with books I don't already have because I don't consider an ebook to be a book I already have. Like the main way I like to read a book or well buy books is first I read it for free, whether it's through the library or certain methods to get an ebook or borrowing from friends. That way, if I like the book, I can buy it later. I can buy like the physical version later. Because while I do enjoy the convenience of ebooks, I do definitely prefer having the physical book and turning the pages and reading like that. Ebooks are very convenient, but physical books, I love physical books. And ebooks now are like the same price as a physical book, and I don't like that. I don't want to buy the same book twice if I end up liking it. I don't want to buy a book I don't like either. So I have my ways of getting my ebooks for free, and beyond that I also have the library. So ebooks and books I don't have go here. And this was a completely random decision. I don't know why I ended up deciding to do this, but I decided to make the list look like it was on a notebook, like notebook paper, like the kind of lined paper you get in spiral bound notebooks and stuff like that. I even added the 3 binder holes. So I don't know why I ended up deciding it, but I don't regret it. It was a great decision. It looks great. I am probably not going to do this again because drawing all those lines took forever. But yeah. And next page is my books I have to read list. So obviously this is just physical books because these are books that I have sitting in my bookshelf. And this is actually just one page. I have another, the next page is for rereads, like books I want to reread. Books that I've read, but I want to read it again because it's either been a while or I just want to read it again. I don't know. So, setting everything up, you do still see bits of my hair because I couldn't, I don't want to cut every single thing out, but at least you didn't have to deal with my entire head in the frame like there was for a lot of points while I was setting it up. So when I film stuff like this, I just like set up my phone and let it record while I do my thing. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. I don't even know my phone anymore. It's somewhere, I guess. I'm just doing things. I'm messing around, putting stuff on paper, or I'll putting paper on paper. Putting washi tape on paper, putting paper on paper, doing something, doing whatever. But yeah, yeah. I tried using my Tamagotchi Paradise as like a paperweight kind of thing to like weigh down my page. I keep doing that every so often, but sometimes it gets in my way and I have to move it away and then whatever, and then I have to remember to put it back to weigh it down again. And I keep forgetting until I try to do something and I'm like, oh that page is in my way. So that's fun. Brought up the stickers again. Yay. Spend some time choosing stickers. And I do also always have to remember to limit myself with how much I decorate a page because I do like to write. I enjoy writing. I don't want my pages to be all deco because I want space to write too. But I also get in the zone a lot when I'm decorating, so I need to like remind myself while I'm decorating to leave space for words. And here I am attempting a stamp again, but I think this time I used a different marker. I either used a different marker or I went back and got a different marker. Okay, I used a different marker. And this is the, like I said, this is the to read list for the books that I already have. So I have 2 pages for books I don't have because, of course, that list is going to be longer. There's so many. I left a whole empty page for more to add to the list. And the books I already have is shorter because these are just the books on my bookshelf that I haven't gotten around to reading. And yeah, my reread list, which is books I either have or don't have, but I read them at some point in the past, and whether it was a few years ago or many, many years ago, that I would like to reread or well read again for some reason or the other. I just want to read them again. So yeah, books. And I did do the notebook thing again for this for these 2 pages. But these are the only 4 pages that have these notebooky style lists. Just the to read and the reread. The books I gotta read list, I guess. So that's fun. Oh, and the next page is my series tracker. I'm just starting to talk about it now because I don't know how long I'm going to talk about this. I don't think I. Yeah, I don't know how long I'm going to talk about this. So, this is when I have to really start reducing how much I have on the page, like how much decoration I have on the page, because I need more space to write. Because I do like writing. I do want to write. I don't want to just stare at pretty pages. I want to write on the pretty pages. So yeah, this is my series tracker page. I just have my lists of series that I'm gonna read this year or want to read this year, and a checklist for each book in the series. So I have Burning Kingdoms, of course, The Hunger Games because I want to reread that, and read the new books because I haven't read the new books. I only read the original 3 books back in like 7th or 8th grade, and I do want to read them again. So yeah, Have an Official's Blessing, which is a reread, Mo Lao Zushi and Scum Villain Self-Saving System. I do have one Chinese GL in here, Wen Guan. I don't remember the English name for it, but I do have it in a folder somewhere. Somewhere. And then the Orphan Train Adventures, which is I had to hunt to find the name of this series because I read the first book years and years and years ago, and occasionally it pops back up in my memory, and I'm like, I remember there were more books in the series that I wanted to read but never got. So I finally found them, and I got the ebooks, so I'm gonna read those. And Tales of the Celestial Kingdom looks really fun, so that too. I'm gonna read that too. And I have the Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo, so that's Six of Crows, Shadow and Bone, all of those. So I just kind of left it after that instead of adding more that I want to read because I don't know how long this book is gonna last. I don't know if there's gonna be space for more series after this. So it's just like that for now. Oh, and with these lists, I made them kind of like torn pieces of like the outlines I drew around the series are like torn pages or post-it notes and stuff like that. And that was fun. That was very fun. Okay, so a quick little flip through of the beginning part of the book, of my reading journal. So, table of contents, reading goals. I've already talked about those. I think I've talked about everything here, actually. Probably enough. But this is after everything's been written on, so my to read for the books that I don't have, plus ebooks, whether I have them or not, because ebooks. And then my books I have to read, and my reread list. Very short, but that they have plenty of space for expanding. And then my series tracker, which we just finished. And I was originally going to leave it there, but I randomly decided I wanted to add something for the first page or two of the books, of like my books pages, like my book reviews, book journal, like the actual journal section of this. So that's pretty much what I'm doing now, like on screen, what I'm doing now. And this also needs to be pretty low on deco. Like I can't take up too much space with all these extra things because I need more space to write. So yeah. And that's I don't have to decorate the rest of these pages. If I leave them blank, that's fine too. I just want to like actually write in them. But for now, I'm decorating, of course. For now, we'll see if I actually keep that up. I hope I actually keep that up, but I might not, and that is also okay. Because who knows? Who knows what my mood's gonna be in a few months from now? I don't. But yay, books. So that's my I'm just cutting the page right now, but this video is coming to an end, but that's my reading journal setup video. I hope I I hope my ramblings weren't too long for you. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on and on and on. But this last page is the singular spread that I did before, but after I've showed you that, it's done. So thanks for watching. Bye!